Thank you once again to Mustafa Ali for another gracious recitation of the Holy Quran. Now we are at the part of the show where we are kicking off more or less the first segment of the show, looking into the common or not so common supplications, du'as, recitations, ziyaras within the literature of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and shedding some light. And who are we joined by, Zara?
We are joined by, testing me because I don't get names right, but brother Ibrahim al-Ansari, I do not forget. Thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for having me. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
It's a pleasure. I personally learn a lot hearing your interpretations, and obviously you do your background, so it's a wonderful moment for us to be able to share and start our day. So today we're going to speak about the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Inshallah.
So you want to explain what you've chosen and what you'll be reciting?
First of all, once again, congratulations to yourselves, to your families, and to the whole Islamic Ummah, and in fact to the whole mankind, on the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Mawla al-Muwahhideen, this amazing personality.
Definitely.
I don't think there's any tongue that can actually come close to describe him, to the extent where even Imam Zainul Abidin, who's an infallible, one day Imam al-Baqir, he looks at him and he says to him, "Oh father, I see you crying. Why are you crying so much?" He says to him, "I am reading the ibadah of your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen." And Imam Zain al-Abidin, he's known to be of those who are within ibadah. Zainul Abidin, the beauty of those who perform ibadah.
Wow.
I'm looking at the ibadah of your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says to him, "So why do you cry so much?" He said, "Because who will ever reach
SubhanAllah.
Amir al-Mu'mineen?" So this amazing, great personality. In terms of what I chose,
he's an amazing personality. So before you start there, that people, is there something that says that he, people will either love him or loathe him? There's no in between, is there?
There's no in between at all. There's no in between at all. And the hadith that we have in terms of his love and in terms of his hate, we don't want to get into the detail of them, but we realize that whoever is of a pure heart, let's say, will always have the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen installed within them. And those who, let's say, hold some sort of hate, hold some sort of, come from a not a very pure origin, would always have some sort of hate towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. And of course, at the end of the day, he is the divider between good and evil.
Definitely. So, sorry, didn't mean to carry on, please.
So I think you've chosen for today an extract from Ziyarat Ameenullah.
Yeah. So
what was that new word you learnt?
Extract.
No.
Oh, accept.
Yeah.
Oh,
Accept.
right, yes.
I'm sure he's listening.
Just for the benefit of the viewers, and this is the first time you're tuning in. In the previous episode with Ibrahim, I had a particular issue with except, and I couldn't pronounce it properly. Although it's phonetically it's all over the place because it's got an E-X-C-E-R-P-T, but apparently it's pronounced except. So today, in this episode, I've chosen to use extract just in case I make that mistake again. So, in terms of the extract that you've chosen, it's from Ziyarat Ameenullah.
Yeah. So Ziyarat Ameenullah is, in fact, so you just mentioned Imam Sajjad, and Imam al-Baqir. And in fact, this specific ziyarah is narrated from Imam al-Baqir, who has heard it from Imam Sajjad. So he heard the ziyarah being recited by Imam Sajjad, and it is narrated from Imam al-Baqir. It is, if you go, inshallah, we're all blessed to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen in the city of Najaf. You'll realize that when you stand by the gates, there's a big board that has Ziyarat Ameenullah. And this is the ziyarah that is actually mustahab to always recite when you are going on ziyarah towards him. The ziyarah in itself is very beautiful. The ziyarah, it talks about Amir al-Mu'mineen, it is the ma'soom. You see, there's something that we need to remember. When we talk about a ma'soom talking towards a ma'soom, it isn't just like any two human beings talking. So when the ma'soom is telling the other ma'soom, آتيت الزكاة, أمرت بالمعروف, نهيت عن المنكر, if he's telling him جاهدت في الله حق جهاده, of course the jihad is not necessarily fighting. Jihad is the struggle. You showed great struggle it is in a way showing the true status of that specific Imam. And this actually, this extract, I'll go with Ali's way. This extract that was chosen, that I chose, is actually one way in which they were talking about how the one that relates to the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The other part of the ziyarah includes some du'as as well. This very first part is actually very specific to actually salutations towards the Imam.
All right. Please.
Inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليك يا أمين الله في أرضه وحجته على عباده السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين أشهد أنك جاهدت في الله حق جهاده وعملت بكتابه واتبعت سنن نبيه صلى الله عليه وآله حتى دعاك الله إلى جواره فقبضك إليه باختياره وألزم أعداءك الحجة مع ما لك من الحجج البالغة على جميع خلقه اللهم فاجعل نفسي مطمئنة بقدرك راضية بقضائك مولعة بذكرك ودعائك محبة لصفوة أوليائك محبوبة في أرضك وسمائك صابرة على نزول بلائك شاكرة لفواضل نعمائك ذاكرة لسوابغ آلائك مشتاقة إلى فرحة لقائك متزودة التقوى ليوم جزائك مستنة بسنن أوليائك مفارقة لأخلاق أعدائك مشغولة عن الدنيا بحمدك وثنائك اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think in terms of the ziyarah, there is actually another ziyarah for Imam Ali alayhi salam, a much more specific ziyarah about his life. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There possibly is. Just it's with this specific ziyarah. First of all, we like to talk about sanad a lot. The sanad is very strong. The recommendations of the ziyarah, we find many narrations which recommend the ziyarah, and we realize that it is in fact the ziyarah that most of the infallibles would use when visiting Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam. And when we look at the ziyarah itself, we realize that, so for example, when I said earlier that when a ma'soom is talking to a ma'soom, so when he says to him, جاهدت في الله حق جهاده, then وعملت بكتابه. An infallible is saying that this person actually worked according to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is very, very important, and especially in the eyes of those who hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. Many of them try to come and say that Imam Ali is bringing stuff from his own side pocket, he is doing this, he's doing... No, the Ma'soom is telling you no. He worked based on the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in fact, we realize in history that Amir al-Mu'mineen, in fact, at one point, rejected Khilafah because they tried to order him to tell him that if you want to actually take Khilafah, that on top of following the book of Allah and on top of following the Prophet, you must follow another thing which we will stay away from mentioning. Amir al-Mu'mineen replies what? He says, I will only follow the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of the Prophet. Very fiercely. Those are the only two things that I will work with, and which is why you realize that Amir al-Mu'mineen, within his akhlaq, within his manners, within the way he talks to people, Rasulullah would then refer to him, Ya Ali, هذا كتاب الله الصامت وأنت كتاب الله الناطق. You are the book of Allah that walks on the ground, that talks, and this is the one that is just scripture. Because he embodied whatever the Quran held within his personality.
I think you could just sit there all day.
Yeah.
It's just...
So it's very interesting to see that the infallible confirming the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And I mean, does it need another infallible to kind of really confirm the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam?
Of course. Imam Ali alayhi wasalam, his status was already confirmed by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It was confirmed by every single infallible that came, even by Fatima Zahra alayhi wasalam, with her lengthy speech that she spoke before she had passed away. However, when we look at the infallibles confirming status, it is not that they are in need. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of us to worship Him. He is not in need for us to thank Him. It is not a need. Whereas when the infallible actually confirms the status, it is to tell the people of his time, and it is to tell the people to come, those who his message will reach to. So for example, we are sitting here talking about Imam al-Baqir confirming this. It is to make sure and echo that this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because in every single era that you will live in, you will find people who hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. You'll find people who will try to fight against Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen is not in need for us to confirm his status.
Yes.
But his status must be shown, because only through him you will find Rasulullah, and only through Rasulullah you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Can I ask you then, based on beautifully explained, but my mind goes towards people, us as Muslims, who look towards other people to give that affirmity towards Imam Ali. For instance, there's that Christian Lebanese, I don't know if you've heard, that he's written a book.
Or something.
I can't remember. I have his book at home even. But he's written a lot of praise about Imam Ali. He's a Christian. Do you think as Muslims we look towards others and giving that sort of praise, thinking is almost like validating what we believe? Or do you think that that's also necessary for us to say, you know, actually his character was such, universally appeals to, you know, whoever wants to have truth and justice in their lives, and many other attributes and nobility he had. But what do you think, what's your personal sort of take on when we sort of, oh look, a Christian's giving that validation to the Imam?
Of course, like I said, validations is not needed. Now, not to say it in a blunt way, but the validation of the Imam is not given through us by any means. Regardless if the person is Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever they may be. The validation of the Imam is not given through them. A validation of a specific person can only be given if the person is of a similar ranking or higher.
Yeah.
Now Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sajjad, because initially from Imam al-Sajjad, he's not higher than Amir al-Mu'mineen. No. He's not on the same level either, but he's the highest that he can get until he can reach Amir al-Mu'mineen. And in fact, within this validation that he gives, it's because we only focused on this very first part that we are focusing solely on just validation, whereas when we look at the rest of the ziyarah, and even within this extract that is present, Imam al-Sajjad first, because we need to remember that whatever comes from the Ma'soom is lessons for us as well. Imam al-Sajjad first says that this is what he did. He validated his character in terms of how he lived his life. Then, after which, he says, Allahumma faj'al nafsi mutma'innatan biqadarik, radiyatan biqada'ik. Oh Allah, if I can find the translation, he says, oh Allah, make my soul satisfied with your decree, pleased with what you have destined for me, fond of your remembrance and supplications, loving your chosen friends, well liked on your earth and on your heavens, patient when you send down afflictions. We realize that all of these attributes mentioned are all attributes that Amir al-Mu'mineen had. So similarly, when we talked in Ziyarat Jami'ah, when he first said, Ajsadukum fil ajsad, and this is how you live, you are just like us normal human beings, then relate, this is telling us that this is the best example that you will find. Why? Because he struggled in the way of Allah, the best way anyone can struggle. Then He worked towards the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best of ways. He followed the sunnah, the way of the Prophet, in the best of ways. Therefore, what else do you want? This is the best of the best. Therefore, let's live our lives in the same way that Amir al-Mu'mineen had lived his life.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I mean, honestly, every Thursday when you recite the Dua Kamal, you just think, you know, the most humbling experience even for you to read, and you think, who's the author of that? And you think, subhanAllah, how he, you know, his humility, and yet his position Allah and the Holy Prophet has given him.
And that's only one of the many du'as.
Exactly.
Dua al-Sabah is another amazing du'as with amazing meanings behind it. And in fact, maybe if we possibly get one of the days where we have a chance to talk about Dua al-Sabah, unbelievable meanings behind it.
Unfortunately, that brings our time to a close, just for this particular segment, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers of the show. Ibrahim, once again, me and Zara are very, very much in gratitude towards you and the amount of wisdom that you give us in terms of the specific wisdom, the significance of these du'as and recitations. So we really, really appreciate your time. On that note, Zara, we are going to be joining yourself after the break with Brother Bilal for specialist segment. So stay tuned.